Rodney Rakai here, giving you direct access. One of my favorite actors, Mr. Joe Gordon-Levitt. What's going on, man?
Hey, man, how are you?
I'm pretty amazing.
Thanks for the kind words.
I got to see your film last night, Don Jon. It's a film that you wrote, directed, and starred in. Phenomenal job, man. I gotta say.
Thank you.
It was. How did you come up with the script? Because most of the writer friends that I have tend to write from either personal experience or casual conversations with their friends. So
Sure.
Tell me about the script.
Well, yeah, there's some of both in this. I mean, this is a movie about basically how some people treat each other more like things than like people.
Right.
And I'd say that is sort of from personal experience. Like, I've been working as an actor in TV and movies since I was a kid, and you know, actors do get treated sort of like objects on a shelf in our culture. But I don't think it's just actors. Like, it's something everybody experiences.
Societal thing.
We have a tendency to pigeonhole each other, put each other in boxes with labels.
Absolutely.
And then the other thing in the movie is how the media can play into that. And that's also something just personally I've always paid a lot of attention to.
Okay.
And so I thought, you know, a story about a young man who watches too much pornography and a young woman who watches too many romantic Hollywood movies would be a funny way at getting at some of these things.
Right. Now, do you feel like society as a whole is over-sexualized?
I think it's kind of always been the case. You can look back at the 60s or the 20s or even further back than that, and you know, people are always reducing, especially women, to sex objects. So I don't think it's necessarily new, you know, and it's always been quite prevalent in pop culture and media.
Indeed.
But media definitely these days in our generation has become a whole new thing, for better and worse.
Right. Now, there's really no such thing as a guy flick. People tend to think of guy flicks as like adventure movies, action movies, where people get blown up. This film, to me, should be what the definition of a guy flick actually is. It talked about love, it talked about sex, but it was in a way that was extremely palatable and masculine. Was that your intention when you wrote the film, to make it something that you and your buddies can sit around and kind of chop it up and laugh about?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely knew me and my buddies in particular would find this funny, but I also thought buddies of mine who are girls would find it funny.
Right.
You know, I guess I see things from both sides, and I wanted to put myself in the shoes of all the different characters. It is, though, told from the perspective of the main character, the one guy.
Right.
It's like 500 Days of Summer in that way. You know, it's not 500 Days of Summer is not told from Tom Zahn Summers' perspective.
Yeah.
It's just from his perspective.
Gotcha.
And that's a classic movie form, that you have one protagonist and you stay with that protagonist the whole time.
So let me ask you this. In your estimation, right, is it more likely for time elapsing to change a man or for a particular woman?
Oh, wow. Well, that depends on the man. And it
Okay.
depends on the woman, of
All
course.
right.
But, I mean, time does change everything. And I don't think you can really change anything instantly.
Right.
I mean, I don't know, I just watched it last night, so it's on my mind, but I was just watching, you know, Obama's speech, 50th anniversary speech, and you know, he was talking about things have changed. It's easy to say sometimes, they're like, oh man, nothing's changed, look at what's going on. But like, yeah, if you look at 50 years ago and now, things have changed. It maybe doesn't change as fast as we want it to.
Right.
And I think that's analogous whether you're talking about a whole society or a single person. You don't just change overnight. And that's why in Don Jon, you know, by the end of the movie, he's not a completely different dude.
Absolutely.
But you do hopefully start to see him
Subtle
beginning
growing,
to break out of his mold.
The film is really, really hilarious. It's witty. It's all of those things, but it had a really serious undertone to it. You know, those are things on the surface level. When you really get into the film, you're really addressing issues about male intimacy that really don't get touched on too often. Why is that like taboo, and why did you decide to address it in this film?
Why is it taboo? I guess, yeah, I don't know. That's a good question of why exactly it is something guys don't want to talk about.
Right.
But look, I wanted to take a risk. I wanted to do something bold. If I'm going to write and direct a movie, I didn't want to just do something kind of normal that, you know, everyone would be like, okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I want to do something people, oh, wow, look at you. All right, let's talk. And my favorite movies are the ones that give you something to talk about afterwards, you know. And that's why I think this would be a good date movie, because it does give you something to talk about. Maybe not the first date, but
Shock value, maybe.
yeah, maybe. I saw Irreversible once on a first date. Wasn't necessarily a good idea, but you know, the rest of the night went well. Anyway,
I'm on that one as details.
no, but I think it'd be a good date movie because you come out of this movie and you definitely have a lot to talk about, and some heat behind that conversation too.
Absolutely. Now, I read somewhere that Scarlett Johansson was the person that you had in mind when you wrote this script. Why would you choose such an amazing distraction to shoot with every day? Man?
I think she was perfect for the role. I mean, first of all, she's a great actress.
Indeed.
You know, I remember from as far back as The Man Who Wasn't There, to Lost in Translation, of course, and Vicky Cristina Barcelona, and the way she hosts Saturday Night Live is really strong. So just by virtue of her skills and talent, but also I think she occupies a really particular place in pop culture. You know, she's a really smart person, really talented actress, and yet a lot of what people talk about is her looks. And so I thought that was kind of a perfect perfect person to bring into the equation in this movie, because that is what this movie's about, is how we do tend to reduce people, especially women, to just their looks.
The film is based in New Jersey. We're in D.C. right now. This show airs in D.C., but I'm from Jersey.
Oh, you are, huh?
I have to ask you, what's up with this accent, man? Why does everybody give Jersey this accent?
But
man?
you know guys that talk like that in Jersey.
I don't know a single soul from New Jersey who talks like that. I swear to goodness.
No. Where in New Jersey are you from?
North Jersey. So like Essex County, like Montclair and Newark are like my neighbors.
I mean, I do know people that talk like that.
Really?
From New Jersey. I know people that talk like that are from Long Island or Staten Island or Brooklyn and New Jersey. I mean, I based most of my accent in this movie on Tony Danza, who plays my dad.
Okay.
He talks like that. That's not an accent he's doing.
Does he really talk?
I swear to God.
That's crazy to me.
That is how he talks.
See, when I think about Tony Danza, I think who's the boss. So I guess maybe I don't really hear the Jersey thing. But I mean, you guys did a phenomenal job in mimicking the diction and the all those things. So it was a good job. I'm not knocking you. I just wanted to know the explanation.
I'm not saying that everybody in New Jersey talks like that, and not everybody in the movie talks like that. There's Julianne Moore's character, who's also from Jersey, and she doesn't talk like that. There's also my character's sister, who's clearly sort of grown up and wanted to sort of depart a bit from her family.
Right.
And she doesn't have as thick an accent either. Okay. But there are people with thick accents.
Yeah, all right. I'll give you that.
But I hear you. I feel like what you're saying is, it seems like the media says that everybody, especially if you're reacting to like Jersey Shore or something, your hometown is getting a bad rap, and everyone thinks that everyone in New Jersey talks like this. Yeah. I'm not trying to say that everybody talks like this, but there are people who talk like that.
I just had to ask you. It's one of those things. It's like, I'm a Jersey guy. My friends wouldn't let me come out the interview without having to ask you a question.
I understand.
So but you're a pretty cool guy, man. I told you off camera that I appreciate your fashion sense. I think you're a phenomenal actor. You cover a wide range of characters, and this film doesn't disappoint at all. Phenomenal job writing and directing and starring in it, man. I'm Rodney Rakai. This I'm gonna call you Joe. I'm not gonna say your whole name.
Please, that's my name.
And this is Joe for Direct Access. We are out of here. Peace.
Good talking to you. Pleasure, man.
Thank
well
you,
done.
man.
Well done.